Hello everyone, Shadefire here, and today I am back with something else, one of the rare things that people are reliably interested in from me. This is a return to a series of Trespasser levels that I did the first video of in 2016, almost exactly 3 years ago in June. This is Jurassic Park Dark Secrets, and this is the second map, Plains, taking place after streams, so if you haven't seen that video, which by this point I'm sure there's plenty of people who have not, maybe go back and watch that first. Now, unlike that level, where I was going in blind, I realized that because these levels are so big and sprawling, it would be better if I go through them first and kind of figure out where I'm going. So I've already gone through this level to the extent that it can be gone through. Now, something I didn't know when I first started this, but I found out as I was doing Plains, and I asked some questions of the people who made the map. These levels were all supposed to be one big interconnected level originally, but
wow, must be a mile across. At least a 650 cab ride.
Because of map limitations, specifically I think the object limit on the amount of objects you can have in a map before it is too unstable to play at all, they had to split it up into separate maps that don't completely align, so this map doesn't really have a proper ending. There's kind of just a certain point you hit where it's like, okay, that's what you were supposed to do to end the map. And then the next map doesn't take place directly after this one, but we are to assume that Tasha here made her way to that map, is what I'm getting. Alright, so we start off with some harmless stego boys here. They're very pointy little tips. I'll just ignore them. So this is the wall that we were walking along at the end of the first map. And this grate here was actually, you know, we walked right by that as I was slowly dying of DX, which I was very annoyed about. I was really not fond of that kind of idea. Oh, there's our first raptor. I don't remember there being a raptor in this spot. Let's see how well I can still aim in Trespasser. That's one miss. That's 3 misses. The sights on this revolver are not that easy to use either. And they're also not correctly... Oh, there we go. Yeah, I had it tilted down too much. 1.
Ow.
Also got to be a little more careful because I am remembering now that JPDS does not have regenerating health, unlike the other Trespasser levels. Wow, that was actually a pretty good shot. And now I am dry. Alright, we're just going to ignore that raptor now. It's rare to see the revolver appear in a custom level. Modders seem to usually forego it in favor of just using the Desert Eagle. Also, this is not a map that is draw distance friendly, so I have the draw distance less than half right now. But there is this dark fog, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. I don't know. I find sometimes when I load this up, the fog doesn't actually
not much cover.
Appear as dark and dense as it should.
The trees.
Like, it looks fine like this. I'm not seeing any trees pop in, so that's good. Alright, so as we follow along the wall here, we are going to come on this little hunter's camp, so I do have to be careful, because there are some pit traps. Here we go. Yeah, so falling in these, there is a trap that will kill you at the bottom if you hit it. Sometimes you'll just kind of land to the side of it and be stuck down there. It's very difficult to get back up out of these. Not impossible, but difficult. The other thing, too, is this is still a very large level, so even knowing where I'm going to go, I think I'm going to break this up into 2 separate videos. In the first video, we're going to kind of go through this whole walled-in plains area, but there is an area beyond that, which we'll save for the next episode. So we've got this simple little hunter's camp area, where you would think we can find weapons, but there isn't really much. There is this, which is, you can see at the top left there, it says, acquired Browning ammunition. I assume this is for one of the M2 Brownings, which I believe there is one of in this level. So I think I could use this to reload that, but I'm not sure how well that works. And I also don't know where that gun is exactly. I kind of remember where it is, but I didn't see it when I passed it before. Let's get some health back from the water. However, these raptors spawn in after you get here, but we should be able to lure them into some of these traps. They may be clever girls, but they're not that clever. Also, that one almost just fell into a pit by itself. Come on. Jump at me. The jump is what makes them really bad at surviving these pits. Oh, he actually got back out. I say just interchangeably swapping genders for these raptors. Come on. I gotta watch out for that one too. Oh, there's 3 of them. There was only 2. Oh boy. I almost just got tackled into the pit. And there it goes.
One less threat to the American way of life. It's not your time now, it's mine.
Down there it's your time, but up here it's my time. Alright, we got one left, but that one seems distracted? Not even looking in my direction. I'm gonna ignore it for a moment. We do have one gun here, but it is one of the worst. It is the Beretta 93R, the Raffica, which is one of the few burst pistols in the game, and like I said in my original Trespasser LP, burst pistols are all pretty garbage in this game. What is it doing? Just completely stock still. Oh, startled her. Now let's see if you fall in the pit or if I'm gonna have to burst you down. Assuming I can actually fucking aim with this thing. Alright, sights are aligned. Slight upward tilt. Alright. Hit. Hit.
Headshot.
Headshot that did also not kill it. God, I hate this gun. Which is funny, because this is one of the guns that's really cool in real life, and also very rare. But it's so bad here. Alright, I successfully killed the raptor without running out of bullets, which is impressive for this gun. And I think this is one I didn't drink from yet. Unfortunately, you always start with not full health, since this doesn't continue from the first level. Or at least I'm not continuing from the first level, I just started this from the beginning. Alright, so that's the hunter's camp. Not too much there, but some neat stuff. Now we're just going to carry along this wall. I'm going to save. I assume at some point this level is going to crash because it is a little unstable. Planes. First save. Because I probably still have to draw this up a little too big for certain parts, so it might crash abruptly, so I'll have to remember to save. I do like these like savanna trees they've got going on. Savannah, Georgia. So, barely a moment passed after saying that it might crash before it crashed. It's a good thing I made that save, because now we can just carry on here, and I have bumped down the draw distance even further, so hopefully this is enough, and you can see now the trees are popping in even before the fog starts. But I guess that's just necessary, because this level is pretty demanding. I don't remember having too much trouble with the first one, but the first one was a bit more spread out, so I think there was less trouble with objects popping in and destroying the load limit. Don't move a muscle.
Headshot.
Right round like a record, baby. I don't know why it didn't even attempt to move. Alright. So here we've got this little observation tower, which is pretty neat. Though you can see, this is another one of those ones where they had to make stairs out of fence pieces. Which I imagine that makes this tower pretty demanding, since each of these is an individual object. There is a key down here. Now, This key is not essential for completing the level, but it does let us open up a little neat area. I forgot I had this Browning box. I don't know if I'm going to bother trying to use this because, again, I'd have to actually find the M2, which is somewhere in the center of this area, but I guess if I spot it, I'll try to use it. Alright, let's see if we can get to the top here. Neat little detail is, you can see up here, the fog actually retracts. So, if I could turn up the draw distance, we could get a nice view of the level, but as it is, you can't see much. Also, I don't know why it says if you have a scope zoom available, use it to, you know, look at distant details, but I assume that is a holdover from this being a continuous level instead of an individual one, that you might actually have a scope rifle from the first level. Alright, so there is a raptor down here somewhere. Oh, that's my burst pistol. Maybe I shouldn't have wasted that burst. But whatever. Let's just carry on. And I'm going to make another save. Planes. Second save. Key. For when it inevitably crashes again. Alright, so let's continue along this wall. There's actually only one item you need to get out of this area, which is kind of nice, but it does kind of prevent you from exploring the whole area if you just beeline for it. However, thankfully, it is a code that is not nearly as hidden as the friggin' needle in a haystack Jeep from the first level. There's a lot of bones in the plains, which I assume is because these raptors have been left in here with all of these herbivores and have been slowly killing them off as the population runs down.
Couple of kids.
And we got this little tiny baby Triceratops skeleton. Also, I believe these are entirely custom as well, these dead Pachycephalosaurus models, which also count as a food source for the raptors, so they will happily just sit here and eat it endlessly. We'll just leave her to it. I guess it could be male. We don't know the rules of these specific dinosaurs in this area. I mean, I guess they have to be both genders, right? If there are baby dead Triceratops there. One would have to assume that they are breeding. And this is kind of a Site B alternative. Or what was it? Was it Site C that it was called in the first level? Alright, we got an especially large skeleton here. That fence is clearly not designed to keep the raptors in, though, because they could clearly just climb one of these trees and walk over, or jump over. I think they're just meant to be more of a divider for the larger species. There aren't too many guns in this level, so we aren't going to be too much blasting, or doing too much blasting. But let's take another drink. Oh, can't drink the bullets. More old water. Just a simple tent here, nothing really around it. Alright, so this is the exit to the plains area, and this is where we're going to end the video once we get the code and open these doors, or I think slightly beyond it. But first, we need to explore the rest of the level and get the code that we need. Nothing really useful in that supply box. You could try to use that rebar to kill a raptor, but I would not suggest it. Oops. I guess I can't really hop with this thing in my hand. Might be easier to do with the key. Alright, so before we continue along this other wall, which will lead us kind of back to the start, we're going to go over to the outpost here, which is in the center. And you can kind of find your way through the level just by following these power lines, which are handy to have. do think the Browning is along this path somewhere, too. Yeah, we got this little research outpost, which does kind of look like the maintenance shacks from Jurassic Park. Plains Research Outpost number 1. So you might think that there's something important here that you need, but there really isn't. But you can see we got a nice little kind of study of the bones here. Some computers, an endless amount of clipboards with coffee stains on them. Some more of those classic Trespasser chairs that are just made of like 5 different pieces and collapse when you touch them. Is that Angelina Jolie? Alright, what do we got in these lockers? We got nothing. Nothing. Gun. Let's see if we can finesse this thing off the shelf. No, it wants to stay closed. Come on. There we go. I think this is just a black Desert Eagle. Get this Jurassic Park Coca-Cola machine. Now, I tried to look this up, and as far as I can tell, I could not find any evidence that this was an actual promotional machine, but I assume it was, and just not one of those things that people really, record. Like, oh, better remember that this existed. Got some InGen mugs. Some microwaves. Anything on top of the bed? So yeah, you assume there'd be a little bit of a research crew that were living in here and observing how the animals react in a more natural environment. But either they were evacuated or they died. I mean, you don't see any bones around here, so I don't think they died. Probably just left everything in a hurry. We've got this supply room, which is full of junk. And also a washer and dryer. Yeah, and there's a medical box with nothing in it, so we can't get any health here. In fact, I don't think there's anything useful at all in this room. Unless there's something really well hidden. Oh, no, I'm starting to fall through the ceiling. But that's a neat little outpost, and we did get ourselves a gun, which are in short supply, so it's worth having. I should probably grab that ammo box again, see how long we can hold on to that. I would like to try to use this for what it's intended for. And I think the Jeep that I'm thinking of is just over here somewhere. Got a porta potty outside. There's like one of these bus stops from Illusorna. I cannot imagine that a bus actually ran through the middle of these dinosaur-infested plains. Alright. Oh. There's another raptor somewhere. Alright, gotta realign my aim, because it is all crooked.
Headshot.
Shit. Come on. Well, shit. It's a lot harder to aim with pistols in Trespasser than it is with rifles. Also, I'm very out of practice. I mean, I did that Ruins level, and there are no guns in that level, so I didn't have to relearn to aim. But the bunny hop is always the most effective way to escape any combat situation in Trespasser. And that is what we will do. Now, we still need to find this code, which is over in this direction, but I'm trying to find this Jeep with the mounted machine gun.
Took to the open fields like lions to the Serengeti.
Alright. Thanks for the heads up, Hammond, but I do not see the Albertosaur yet. There is one around here somewhere. Got the old watering hole with some more stegosaurs just hanging out. Duck under the tails. Okay, there's the tower. So again, this area is not too large. You know, we've kind of crisscrossed it from the middle and back. There is just the one other side to see. So I don't know how I'm not seeing this Jeep yet. I could have sworn it was near the middle. Slightly back towards the start from the outpost. I think it's close enough to the Albertosaur. That may be it there. Close enough to the Albertosaur that you could use it to kill them. There is an Albertosaur. As predicted. This one doesn't have a mounted gun, right? No, this is just one of the capture jeeps. Which actually would have probably come in handy here.
Oh, great. Another dead guy.
Another unarmed dead guy, sadly. Alright. This thing will probably try to kill me if I hang around too long. For some reason, the Parasaurolophus is aggressive. Okay, there's the M2. So let's see. Okay, yeah, so you can see it's empty. There's no ammo box. So let's see if I can slot this in. Ah! That actually works. More or less as intended. I hadn't actually tested that before, so I'm glad to see that that worked out. Now let's see if we can get your attention. Oi! Big fella. Got some tasty meat on the run over here. Yeah, you're nodding for it. He wants it. Well, he can come and get it, can he? I don't know what this voice is. I apologize. Aussie Ann. That's what my friends call me. Alright, I guess he's not going to cooperate, so we are going to manhandle this thing into a his word position. Yeah. Felt a little bit of a sting there, didn't you? Now you want a bite of old Aussie Ann. He's just going to walk up behind me. Nope. He's gone for the bigger meal. Well, this thing doesn't really ideally rotate the way I need it to. You can pretty much rotate it all the way, I think. I just have to actually be able to walk around and pull it. Alright, well, neat idea. Maybe not the best positioning to make use of here, but we don't even really need to deal with that Albertosaur. So I guess I'll have to say Albertosauri for not killing it on camera. Many, many bones. Nope. Another raptor somewhere. Okay, so I'm not carrying anything on me right now. I am completely unarmed. Well, we can change that. Alright. Don't think we're missing anything back that way. So let's just keep going this way. There is one more weapon for us to find. Also in this area. And it is perhaps a little OP. Okay. I hope I didn't actually miss what I was looking for. I don't know exactly where this is, but it is the thing we need to finish the level. I might have passed it back there. Okay, yeah, because this just leads back to the start.
This is magnificent. Oh yeah, ooh, wow, that's how all it starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Little baby Stegosaurus. An appropriate quote from The Lost World, though, since that's when they first encounter the Stegosaurus. That Sarah Harding is observing a little too closely. Okay, there's the gate, so I did pass what I'm looking for. And now, that's good, I guess, because now we can just start heading back towards the exit gate and pick up what we need on the way. I still hear a raptor attacking, but I don't think it's this one. Just politely waiting for me to turn around. Alright, so if it wasn't there, then what we need should be back over along this wall. Is that a floating jawbone? It is. I wonder if I can use this as a weapon. Just need one in each hand and then use them as like arm jaws. Of course, she's only got one hand, so that wouldn't work. Ah, but imagine the possibilities of having 2 arms. And the nightmare of how you would control that, considering you use the mouse for one, so what would you use for the other one? I know people have said, oh, you know, Trespasser in VR, where you could actually use both arms, and that would be cool, and there is like a Unity Trespasser VR demo, which I think has been pretty cool, but as someone who does not have any sort of VR setup, and not much of an interest in getting one anytime soon, it doesn't really do much for me yet. I know you're still following me. I can hear your footsteps and your snorts. Alright, Oh, I gotta remember that I can't be careless with the damage because I don't get it back. Well, shit. I was hoping I could throw it with fatal force. Instead, I just bounced off. We have a crashed plane over here, which is also supposed to be a smuggler's plane, like the one on Isla Sorna in the main game. And there is another Albertosaur hanging out by this plane. It's also interesting to see the tail sections actually stuck back onto the plane. Okay, we're gonna make another save here before this raptor pounces me. Planes, third save, plane, or plan, because you can't fit plane. Alright, so we can actually get inside this plane if we go over to the door. And there is some cocaine just lying here.
We were neither the only covert business to thrive in Central America nor the most dangerous.
Alright. So this one actually does. Let's see if we can open this without ejecting it. Nope. Still almost ejected it. There is a med kit here, which brings us almost up to full health. Heals 100. And we have this AK-74U here, which I'm pretty sure is just a port to Trespasser of the Stalker model, because it looks very similar to that one. And it looks pretty good. Like, again, I've said it before, but considering when this game came out, this game has very impressive, high-detail gun models that even some of the so-called tactical games that came out after this did not have. Specifically Delta Force. I mean, I was looking at a few of the Delta Force games that were on sale again, going like, maybe I should do some videos on those after I got a hilarious amount of old people pissed off by disparaging the legacy of Nova Logic by talking about how shitty Delta Force Extreme 2 is. Even though that is one of the worst Delta Force games, they're just, I guess, it's one of those, hey, they made a game I like, so I have to defend all of their games. Alright. But yeah, my point was that one of the games that came out 4 years after this one of the Delta Force games, has fucking god-awful gun models. So we have our AK, but let's get a little yayo going here too. So you can use the cocaine, and it has some effects. it completely reduces the draw distance and puts you in slow motion. However, it does also last quite a long time, enough so that that's why I made a save, because I'd rather just save and load the save than wait for it to wear off. Makes it a lot easier to aim, though. Even though my gun is completely misaligned right now. Oh, boy.
Headshot.
Nice shot. Bingo. Where did the Albertosaur go? Oh. Did I kill it? Is that a rock or is that a No, I guess I killed it, or the raptor did. Alright, well, let's give it a minute here and see if these drugs wear off. Otherwise, I am going to load the save. It's very hard to tell even where I'm going with this super dense fog. I mean, what was in there? Cocaine or Kronos? Because we seem to have a distorted perception of time ourselves now. I mean, it's not too bad, but obviously it'll make the level take a lot longer in slow motion. And the first time I used those, I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to start over because they didn't seem like they were wearing it off at all. But it's a neat idea that they actually made the drugs do something. Okay, I found the wall. Let's just start heading this way until I can see again. Remember, kids, don't do drugs, or everything will take you forever. It's like one of those $1 million but questions. Get $1 million, but you have to spend a month of time in slow motion. So it feels like much longer. Got like a bit of a crater here. Okay. So now that it's worn off, I can actually find the friggin' thing I'm looking for, which I think is a little further along the wall. So let's just keep hopping. But we are getting close to wrapping up this episode, which is good, because again, it would have taken me a lot longer to specifically find what I was looking for if I was going in blind. Alright, so this is what we need. Got a clipboard here. Plains Gate B 1009. Check in with Maharaja, or try stay away from the plane. Presumably because the Albertosaur hangs out around the plane. One nice little thing is they don't actually make you enter the code. Once you've picked that up, interacting with the keypad will automatically enter the password. So you don't have to do the individual finger point. Alright, so let's get this gate open and see a little bit beyond it, and we'll call that an episode. But I'm glad to be getting back into JPDS, because the main reason I stopped is after completing the first level and, you know, all the frustration I had there, I wanted to go through this level ahead of time, and that way I wouldn't have to deal with nearly as much frustration, because I'd already know what I'm doing. However, I reached a point in this level that we're not going to see until the next episode that was extremely frustrating, and because I actually missed a small detail, I could not complete it, and I was like, well, if I can't beat this, then I can't beat the level, so there's no point in recording it. So I kind of held off there. But I replayed it recently to see if I get back into it, and I did find what I was missing. Also, you can see there's another Albertosaur beyond the wall. Clearly, they have gotten out. And we could actually skip a huge chunk of this level if I went over this, because you can put a box here and then climb over, and there are some boxes just over there. But we're not going to do that, because that would defeat the point of trying to show the level if I just skipped to... I was going to say the end, but it's not really the end. It just allows you to circumvent the whole section that I would rather show, because it's a nightmare. And I guess all of these JPDS levels will probably have one section where I'm like, oh no, why? You know, the first level it was the swamp and trying to find the password while trying not to get slowly killed by being touched by any one raptor. Then in this section, it's the platforming section that we'll see next time. And then I don't know about the other ones because I haven't played them yet. But I probably will also be playing those ahead of time rather than going into them blind. Especially because there's some kind of back and forth you need to do with the last 3 levels, where like I'll start with one level and then there's a transition point that leads into another level, and then I would backtrack from that level back into the previous level. So that stuff I'm going to have to figure out ahead of time. And here's the same sign that we saw when we entered the level from the other level. So yeah, even though this is called Plains, most of it is not plains. Oh, that raptor actually followed me. I think those raptors actually appear once you open the gate. Let's dissuade them with 7.62 millimeter. Actually, if this is an AK-74U, it is probably still 5.56 by 45? Whatever the Russian version of NATO 5.56 is. Whoa, boy. Went full on meat spin there.
Headshot.
I hear another one off in the distance. But yeah, I was going to say, even though this level's called Plains, only about half of it takes place in the plains, and then we head up this mountain. And then there is some extra stuff that's not actually part of the intended progression, but would have been, you know, interconnected with the other levels if this was just one big level. Oh, there's that other one. Let's see if it follows me all the way up here. We're going to end the episode up at the top here, so you'll get a little teaser of the hell that I have coming next time. Though it's a little less hellish now that I actually know how to complete it. There's still going to be a lot of reloads and, depending on physics, not to kill me. Looks like that raptor lost track of me. It's too bad for her. Ooh, a little bit of that texture pop out. The opposite of texture pop in, where the texture just disappears. So here we have the Site B amber and ore mining area, which is pretty nasty. I can't remember if there's anything up here. Give it a tug and let those very low friction physics take effect. I remember back in the original LP I said that there's no friction, and obviously that's not the case, because if it was, they would just go forever. But there is extremely low friction, is what I should have said. As people who are watching it for the first time recently feel the need to correct me on 8 years later. Alright, so we got this very cool little structure, which is based off of, I guess, the one in Jurassic Park 3 that they enter when they escape the Spinosaur after reuniting the group, which leads into the Eyrie, where the Pteranodons are. But here, it leads into the mine. And you can see a lot of the textures not loaded in here because I think I can actually turn the draw distance back up at this point without breaking too much. But that'll have to wait until we start the next episode. But you can see there's a lot of platforms here, and a lot of these platforms have physics and will collapse or fling you when you touch them. But the first thing we'll need to do is actually figure out how to get in here, since you can't get in through the front door. But that'll have to wait for next time. So until then, I've been Shadefire. This is part 2 of Jurassic Park Dark Secrets, The Plains, and I hope you'll join me through my platforming hell next time. Until then, take care, everyone.